Okay, thought experiment. What if we used baby showers to make babies millionaires? Hear me out, because look at the state of baby showers these days. They're glamorous, picture perfect. We've got table sets, we've got catering, and balloons, my friends, balloons galore. We're coming back to those in a bit, by the way, so don't worry. But it is kind of crazy how much can go into a baby shower, even beyond hosting the event. Guests at baby showers can spend tons of money on gifts for the parents and the baby, and it made me wonder, one, how did we get here to the point where the scale of baby showers could easily be mistaken as weddings for how grand and expensive they're getting? And two, is it possible that we could make a baby a millionaire through baby showers, and that maybe modern baby showers, not to mention gifting culture as a whole, is keeping us poor? We're gonna talk about all that and more, not to mention show some pretty wild baby shower stuff along the way. But before that, if you are new here, I'm Cara, and I make videos on the intersection of money, media, and intentional living. If that sounds like your cup of tea, be sure to subscribe and check out my other video essay after this one on how weddings keep you poor. Thank you also to my patrons on Patreon for supporting this channel. You guys are amazing, and if you want to be a patron on Patreon, the link is down below. And a big thank you to today's sponsor, Factor, for supporting this channel. For those who don't know, Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. I tried Factor meals myself, specifically ordering their vegetarian dishes since a New Year's goal of mine is to reduce my meat intake, and my gosh, was it good. As in, the food itself was so delicious, it genuinely tasted like a restaurant quality meal while keeping me full, which is something I've struggled to do when I cook vegetarian myself, but it also made my life so much easier. Because as many of you know, I have a 9-to-5 job on top of juggling this YouTube channel, and so there are some weeks where it just gets very overwhelming. I don't always make time to meal prep, and then I sometimes don't have food in my fridge, so then I end up subsidizing my calories with just lots and lots of sugar. So I'll eat lots of cookies and candy bars, but that does not feel good, and then it ends up making me crash a lot, which just makes me feel worse. But with Factor's 2-minute meals, I was able to have nutritious and delicious meals in between my work meetings, which made me feel better and made the week just feel less chaotic. Factor also now offers loads of snack options like breakfast, smoothies, juices, snacks, and more to keep you going no matter what's on the schedule. So if you're looking to stress less around mealtime while still having nutritious, flavorful meals, definitely check out Factor. If you're interested, you can head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code CaraNicole50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. Thank you so much to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so let's start with the costs of a baby shower. Now there's a lot of information out there on what the cost of a baby shower is, so just keep in mind that some might be more or some might be less than these numbers that I give. But what I found is the following. Some articles say you can expect to pay $25 to $50 a person. Other articles give a $200 to $1,000 price range as a norm. And then if you stalk some forums like me, you can find numbers creeping into the thousands. And places like TikTok are where you really see the numbers go a little crazy, with baby showers regularly hitting over $5,000. And I know I said this at the start of the video, but some of these videos just look like weddings at this point, right? Like, this is a gorgeous, intimate wedding right here. I'm even kind of digging the teddy bear theme for a wedding, honestly. It could be pretty cute, no? Okay, I'm focusing. So we know that baby showers can get up there in terms of price, and I thought it'd be interesting to look at some of the iconic pillars of baby showers that we see online these days. Starting with balloons. Because geez Louise, somehow balloons and babies have become a package deal in our culture. I mean, look at this. Balloon arches, balloons with babies on them, balloons shaped as babies. What's next? Babies shaped as balloons? Has science gone too far? And many of these balloons are not cheap, my friends. I looked up the cost of a balloon arch, and in 2023, this article said just the low end was $250, but they can often reach up to $1,000. This is not to diss balloon sellers, by the way. I respect the hustle, and I know my current skills could never make something that aesthetic, but it is kind of wild that there is such a high price tag on balloon decorations that, you know, pop. Where at least the fancy catering of some baby showers is ultimately feeding people and the extra can be saved for leftovers, I'm not sure I really get what you're supposed to do with the balloons once the party's over. I personally like to imagine that there's some designated person at the party who stays after everyone has left, and then they just go and pop all the balloons there and they have a blast doing it, but I don't really know what goes on. So if for some reason you know, maybe you're a party planner or something, let me know in the comments below, because I'm very curious and I'm very invested in if there's a popper out there. Also, Also, on the topic of balloon popping, I will say one balloon aspect of baby showers I thought was very funny was all of the pregnancy balloon games. These just look like a good time. I want to be there. I'm a sucker for bizarre games like this. Though I will say, this one that I'm about to show that's like a pregnancy bump balloon game, it's like a little disturbing if you don't know there's balloons involved.
My sister's baby shower.
But balloons are just one part of the story when it comes to our modern baby showers. They're just one symbol for the money we throw into a single event that represents an opportunity cost for the financial future of the baby itself. We'll talk about that quantified opportunity cost in a second, but first I want to talk about the other side of the story when it comes to modern baby showers, and that is the gift giving. If you've ever been to a baby shower before, you know it's generally expected to bring a gift, and how much you're expected to spend on that gift depends on your relationship with the parents-to-be. According to Bestow Gifting, quote, for coworkers or acquaintances, people tend to spend around $30 to $50. For friends or distant relatives, many people spend between $50 and $100. For close friends or family members, most people spend between $100 and $200 or more. And that can rack up to a big chunk of change when you're the receiving parents. Though, caveat, if you are spending thousands of dollars on a baby shower, that money coming in might not move the needle quite as much. But hey, these gifts are at least things that you're gonna really need with a new baby, right? Not always. While I am sure some people gift some great essentials like diapers, baby wipes, maybe even an expensive crib or car seat, there seem to be a whole lot more unnecessary gifts being given. In part, I'm guessing because some of us just don't know what to gift new parents. Some of us might have never had kids before, so we're just kind of guessing. But when I was searching on the internet, I saw things like clothes that the baby won't be able to wear for years, to diaper-specific trash cans, to baby wipe warmers, to baby shoes. And at first I did not think baby shoes was an awful idea because I was like, oh, well, everyone needs shoes. But then I realized babies can't walk. Babies can't even really hold their heads up. Where are they going? They don't need shoes. And I don't think they like fashion that much, so they certainly don't need a lot of shoes. All of these gifts, while backed by good intentions, represent a lot of money that's going instead to clutter the new parent's home. So what if we change the way we think about gift giving for baby showers, and maybe even gift giving for other big life events like birthdays and weddings, where instead of buying items, we can give money that can be then used and invested for people's financial futures. I know, it doesn't sound as cool as baby wipe warmers, but hear me out. Let's do a hypothetical where we take the money that would have gone into gifts and just turn that into essentially cash donations for the parents. If we have 50 people coming to our baby shower with an average gift value of $50 a person, that's $2,500 right there. Though let's say we put aside $500 of that to spend on things like diapers and wipes. So now we have $2,000 left over from that gifted money, and let's say that we tone down the baby shower party itself. So instead of doing this $4,000 blowout, we just have a smaller, more intimate $500 one. Maybe it's a potluck in the backyard with no balloon arches, but it's still cozy and fun. So now we have the $2,000 from the gifts left over, we have $3,500 that we saved on the party for a total of $5,500 that we can now use to try to turn our kid into a millionaire. And yes, we are collectively having a kid, a single kid all together, guys. Congratulations. And that total is not even including other parties that we could exclude to save more money, like gender reveal parties, which have also gotten quite excessive in the past decade. So the $5,500 for our kid is pretty nice, but it's not probably going to make them a millionaire because millionaires tend not to be made by just tucking away money into a savings account. They're made by investing that money. And as many know, the real magic of investing is compound interest, which all comes down to time. Luckily for babies, time is very much on their side. And there are accounts out there like a 529 for education or an UTMA account for general use that adults can use to fund the child's financial future. So that $5,500 that we take from the baby shower, if put into baby's first brokerage, could be invested into something like the S&P 500, which has a historical average of 10.26% since its inception in 1957. And here's where it gets very fun, guys, at least for me and my love of the compound interest calculator. I have it jotted down here. So if we invest that $5,500 into the S&P 500, assuming its historical average, and assuming that we never add a single dollar more into that account, we just keep it at that $5,500, then by the time that our child is 18 years old, our boss baby now has almost $100,000. Jump to age 30 and assuming again that we have never added any more money to this account. This is just the growth from the investments. And by age 30, our baby now has over $100,000. That's money that could help our child buy their first home or pay off grad school. And by age 65, which is the typical retirement age for Americans, our child now has $3.1 million. And I know some of you guys are already firing up your fingers to type, but inflation, and I hear you. Inflation will make that $3 million in 65 years a lot less powerful than $3 million today, but it's still $3 million for our kid that they would not have had if we didn't channel that money from the baby shower into their financial future. And I think that this shift in gift giving and how we use our money can be applied to many other milestones in our lives. From birthday gifts to wedding gifts. I know that in some cultures it's more typical to gift money, like the red envelope tradition in Chinese culture, but at least in places like the United States, there's still a pressure to provide non-monetary gifts like clothes or knickknacks. And I'm not saying that any of those kinds of gifts are wrong, but I think that it's really interesting to think about how we might be able to gift financial security to our loved ones too, and how leaning into excess in the case of the baby shower parties can be interpreted as an opportunity cost for our financial future. There isn't really a right or wrong way to balance this, in my opinion. It's one of my big internal conflicts of how much do I plan for the future versus live in the moment. But even though the answer may be different for everyone and constantly changing throughout our lives, it's still a question worth seriously considering. A more philosophical factor to consider when thinking about all of this is how identity formation plays a role. And what I mean by that is that we as humans construct identities for ourselves. It's a topic that philosophers have been obsessed with for a very long time, from Descartes' famous "I think, therefore I am," to Mead's theory that we develop our sense of self through social interactions and the symbolic meanings attached to objects and roles within a society. The latter perspective is particularly relevant here because I think that when we have big moments in our lives, we tend to go all out. Think weddings, milestone birthdays like Sweet 16 or turning 50, and of course, baby showers. I think it all ties into what's known as performative culture and consumer culture. We tend to both engage in performative acts to conform to social norms as well as consume products and experiences as a means of expressing identity. My theory is that big moments in our lives, like having a baby for the first time, are such transformative experiences for us that we seek identity formation more than normal. Because our societal narratives tell us that life changes a lot when you have a baby or you get married or you graduate college. It might even supposedly change more than it actually changes, but it makes us feel like we're taking on a new identity of sorts. And to help with that expected transition, we buy into the motifs. We maybe spend more than we can afford. We pay for the biggest balloon arches the world has ever seen so that we can feel comfortable walking through them into whatever next chapter we're entering. Again, I do not think that this is a bad thing. This is simply me observing some of the weird ways that we tend to be very human. And I actually think recognizing and celebrating moments in life, even smaller ones like getting a promotion at work or having no cavities after your last dentist appointment. Celebrating those moments is amazing and we should do it more often. But again, I think it's always good for us to audit ourselves to think about how we're using celebrating and spending to formulate our identities. Just in case there are ways we can do so while saving more money that could then be used for our future celebrations and our future lives. But what do you think? Is this all way too much thinking about baby showers? Do you think that we can shift the culture so that gifting investments is seen as just as normal as gifting physical items? Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are and what topics you'd like to see me cover next. Thanks so much to my patrons on Patreon who support this channel, and for those who donate on Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciate you guys so much. And if you want to become a patron on Patreon, the link is down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.